Welcome. Thank you for joining our webinar today, the first session of our Kronos Workforce TeleStaff webinar series, Your Road to Full Automation. We'll just quickly go over the agenda. We'll do a quick introduction, and we'll have a quick overview of TeleStaff, what it is, a little bit about it more, and then automation requirements. At the very end, we'll have a Q&A, live Q&A. If we don't get to all the questions, we will send out the answers to everybody as well. About JK Seva, we're a team of talented and passionate professionals driven to transform business processes across healthcare, public sector, hospitality, and gaming. And we do focus on software solutions to meet your organization's HR, payroll, finance, supply chain, and workforce management needs. For more information, please visit our website at jkseva.com. My name is Emily Fisk. I am the Relationship Manager at JK Seva, and I'm based out of Chicago, Illinois. Bill, he's the president here at JK Seva. He's been working in ERP and workforce management for over 20 years and will lead us through the presentation today. And he is based out of California. James has 31 years of fire and EMS experience and has served all ranks from firefighter, paramedic, flight medic, and fire lieutenant up to operations supervisor. And he has been a TeleStaff user since 2003 and a scheduling coordinator while in various departments. And he is based out of Florida. Tim has 15 years of payroll and scheduling experience with TeleStaff and is a retired lieutenant in the police force from the city of Madison, Wisconsin. Tim has earned his TeleStaff expertise, with implementations for both fire and police agencies. And without further ado, I will hand this off to Bill.
Thank you, Emily. Appreciate that. Thanks for the introduction. And we have a great lineup here for you. First of all, though, in talking about fully automating your scheduling system, we have to define what automation is and what we're referring to, in particular with staffing schedules. So really the definition here is what we put up here: automation, when most or all of the machine slash processes run with little or no human control to perform work without the aid of people. That's the fully automation. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what different levels of that we can help with and what you should be doing, or can be doing, I guess. So keeping up with staffing levels amid staff and budget cuts, escalating labor costs, and complex compliance requirements are issues that many organizations, really for just about every organization, doing it with manual, paper-based processes makes it close to impossible, especially like retail and manufacturing, healthcare, public sector with their scheduling complexities. And that's really what we're talking about here in particular with public safety. Real quick, with a show of hands, I think I know the answer to this, but I want to confirm and make sure you use the hand function on this webinar, if you can. How many of you are in public safety now? So go ahead and raise your hands if you're in public safety now, of the people. Okay, yeah, it's quite a few. Well, actually, just about everybody. This is what I thought. Just about everybody is. And so what we're going to do is, if you'd like to discuss more about how Workforce TeleStaff can be used in your industry, whether it's healthcare or any other industries, that's great. Or even other Kronos solutions to help with your scheduling needs and with automation. We can set up a separate call, and that'll be great. What we're going to do, while Workforce TeleStaff has been utilized in different industries, we're focusing today on the public safety because that's the biggest representation on this call, as well as it's a particular niche that Workforce TeleStaff it is widely used in. Okay, so an overview of Workforce TeleStaff is what we want to do. Workforce TeleStaff is considered the most reliable scheduling system for public safety today. So again, I want to kind of get some understanding of people I have on the call today, but who does not have Workforce TeleStaff today currently and is looking for scheduling, for a scheduling software with automation? Okay. Okay, so I see a combination of here. Quite a few of you do, and then some people that don't. So that's good, good. We're gonna spend a few minutes here on an overview of the Workforce TeleStaff, Kronos Workforce TeleStaff, but want to get right into the full automation. Okay, so the overview here is, Kronos Workforce TeleStaff, fair, and it gives you fair and more accurate personnel scheduling, automatic rules-based assignment of overtime, integrated communication, and better emergency response. Essentially, Workforce TeleStaff optimizes the scheduling, communications, and deployment of public safety personnel and other critical resources. And it helps control labor costs, minimizes compliance risk. And when I say that, with your unique scheduling rules, and it adheres to the labor laws and union rules and so forth like that, it improves productivity and open lines of communication, and that's really what is important. There are many benefits of Workforce TeleStaff and with automating. We're going to go into some of that, some of those things right now. The flexibility of automation. One of the things that is with TeleStaff things, you can make it as automated as your organization allows, or just even in certain areas. It can differ depending on really your setup and your policies and so forth like that. So it could be like we talked about, fully automated, or maybe you're not set up to be able to do that. You can automate certain pieces of it. So does have that flexibility. Another thing that it has is detailed reporting. So it allows you to go through like with an audit trail and that kind of stuff. So it's designed to give a detailed audit trail, and you're able to pull a wide variety of reports when you need them to be delivered. Kind of like costs, exceptions, FEMA, payback, payroll, roster, personal history reports, stuff like that, personnel. So those kinds of things. So that's really good. Another thing is the bidding aspect, and that's another piece that it does. Auctions are used for two major situations. One, to save time, and the other one's to empower officers. Okay, there can be assignment auctions or vacation auctions. Auction bidding also can be used for overtime. So the system will update when a shift is filled, and it'll show you what is still available. So it can automatically do that kind of thing. Well, automatically, as long as you set it up in an auto function in a way. But another thing that is rules, like it can get granular. So when creating the rules, you can choose how detailed you want to get and how would you like them, and can be, or can be more general, or whatever you want to do, if you want to go very granular or not. So that is a great thing too. And so here on the scheduling, there's different things, and near full automation of scheduling unplanned events is what we would say there, because kind of you can't really automate it fully. It's very difficult, but you can get as near because it's an unplanned event. So hey, Tim Paraguay, can you give us some more information on benefits, and in particular maybe bidding and scheduling for us on this?
Certainly. Just like your day-to-day scheduling can be complex, so can your annual shift picks, and it doesn't have to be annual. It could be biannual. Some departments even have monthly, but they can be extremely daunting if you have to do it manually. Same with your lead process. The good advantage of doing bidding is, first of all, it's very transparent. People can do it from home. It will show whether or not there is a spot still available. It'll be sold out if there's not. And you can reuse these auctions. Once you set them up, you can reuse them like I said, more than just once a year, or you can just tweak them for like special events or overtime, like Bill mentioned earlier. It's a really good feature that TeleStaff has currently.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. You know, in order to properly configure your automation, you must really ensure that your lists are configured in compliance and with your departmental policies and CBAs, collective bargaining agreements. You know, you may already have a couple of these lists. However, you know, the lists are often something that a consultant can help you make. You know, just real quick, when I'm referring to lists, I mean vacancy and staffing strategies lists. That's the list I'm referring to. But you know, many organizations already have the list to work from, but just aren't sure how to automate them, and that's a big deal. So if you hire someone, if you hire a consultant or someone to help you, make sure they don't change the list that you already have directly. You don't want them to change it right in there directly. They should initially review that for functionality to make sure your system runs smoothly. You know, if a list does need to be changed in order for the automation to work properly, the best policy is to keep the list as is and just make a copy of it. And if you make a copy of it, then that's the one you have changed. And that's why I said refer earlier about directly. You want to make sure you change the copy. This process really implores good quality control for your success. That's really what it is. Some of the modifications needed maybe to ensure the CBA and departmental policies compliance. So that is something else. Hey, James Waring, would you share a little bit more about lists and maybe a scenario or something here?
Yes. When it comes to working with the list, if everything's working and they're following all of your CBA and departmental policies, we're not going to change the list, and you don't need to change the list that you normally would use for your fill by rules. The procedure would be we would copy the list and create a whole new different list plan, list chain for the automation to run separately away from the list that you're currently using. Still going to be following the same sorting orders, the same exclusion preferences, and the same inclusion preferences. So for example, I just had an agency where I recently fully automated them, and it was just a matter of copying their list over, putting them in the order that they wanted them to be called, and then we follow that up with a lot of testing to make sure everything is the correct personnel are being called in accordance to the CBA and departmental policies.
Perfect. Thanks, James. Appreciate that. You know, in order to what we want to talk about it when you're working with lists, it's important to keep the contact methods consistent across all the lists. And you know, it's the formatting must be the same. And in reality, we're talking about when it's contact methods, as we write on here, the email, messages, phone calls, interactive texting. You know, when you're talking about the email, is pretty self-explanatory. When you're talking about the phone calls, you want to make sure you have an email for each cell phone as well. It gives the candidate time to choose to accept, or you want to make sure you give them time to choose to accept it or not. You know, kind of like for overtime. And texting is kind of a relatively newer thing with the newer systems from Kronos. It's enabling interactive texting with a third-party service called Twilio. You know, and what they do is if you've not updated to the newer version of TeleStaff, you may or may not be able to have this until you do so. You want to make sure it's compatible, you know, at least in version 7 and beyond. So if you want that and you don't have that, maybe you're on a lower version, check that out, make sure that's verifiable. So from there, we want to take on talk about schedule planning. With schedule planning, it's necessary to identify, you know, really what does and doesn't work with your system. Okay. Once you identify what does work and doesn't work, then you can define how far out you would like to have assignments filled, and then you're talking about time blocks, you know, for short, medium, or long range. And James, you know, we were talking about this the other day. Can you elaborate on the use of time blocks a little bit more, please?
Yes, I recently did an agency out in Colorado. They do their overtime in 3 different segments. The first segment they do is they do their extended segment. Basically, they'll send out an email, hey, we got this day open, up to 6 months away from the date of phone call or date of email. And it pretty much has an open timeline. If they want to sign up for it, they can. If they want to ignore it, they can. Whatever the employee wants. That goes from like the 90-day to 6 month period out from the date of being called. Now, the medium term one that we use is from 2 weeks out to that 90-day mark. So you have to imagine 3 different blocks marching down the calendar as each day goes on. And so the medium one basically gives the candidate 15 minutes to make a decision if they want it, contact their significant other, accept, deny, reject, whatever their choice. The short term we use is from 24 hours out to 2 weeks. Basically, it gives them 10 minutes. Hey, we need this filled. You want to work it? The same premise. We also built for them an emergency scorched the earth list. That's when they have an emergency call out at 5 o'clock in the morning. They can send out a mass text, just kind of blast the whole system. Hey, we need somebody to work today. Can you do it? Please help, call. So that's how we set up a multi-term scheduling planning.
Thank you. And in reality, that's a good way. You know, again, you have to define those things first and then figure out how you're going to use it. And so, you know, those time blocks are very, very important. You know, what's your return on your investment? I mean, the whole point is, why would I want to automate, right? And you know, as we can say, oh, everybody wants to do automation, but really, if you have a goal of a fully automated system, and that's, you know, you may not be able to get there right away or whatever, that could just be a phase goal, but a goal is for the system to run autonomously in the background and only need to be checked on it daily. That's really what we're talking about. And you know, it's hard to determine the ROI in particular, but generally speaking, full automation should give you an extra probably 2 to 3 hours per day, depending on the size of your department. So if you have a team, it would be a lot more than that because there's more people. We're not talking about all the other things that you gain, like less questions and all that kind of stuff. But if you have a department of like 40 or 50, you probably, you know, one person will see a relief, you know, quite a bit in that. So larger organizations of 1,000 may be a team gaining time back as well. And again, James, I mean, I hate picking on you, but I know we were talking about this the other day. You had some experience with this just recently, you know, on how much maybe some people were saving, you know, in that situation as well. Can you share just a second on that?
Yes, of course, it all depends and varies on your departmental size. The department that I currently work with, we have roughly 100 members, and we have the person that actually spends 8 hours a day doing these schedules that, you know, they don't use TeleStaff. I'm trying to get them to convert. But if they did, my old department, you know, we use TeleStaff, and we didn't have to have anybody doing it because we have it fully automated. Everything ran. All the battalions have to do is come in the morning, look, okay, I got these openings that are due up, that need filled, whatever, go about his day, do his business, do his rounds, you know, check on all of his crews, come back in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, look, hey, everything's filled. I don't have to worry about mandatorying people. And then even if there is opening, all they have to do is usually 1 or 2, make a phone call, mandatory that person, much to their chagrin. And, you know, he plugs the person in the spot, and that's it. And so he's roughly taking from 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, to 30 minutes a day.
Thank you for that example, and thanks again for serving in that way, like as you're doing. I just really appreciate that. You know, this automation, again, you may not get to the full automation, but you can get closer, and it's really your decision on how you want to go about this. You know, it could be something that you want to do yourself. You know, it's something that you can attempt on your own and tackle on it, or if you want us to help or someone to help you. And that'll actually help maintain the quality control and experience, you know, more of a stronger ROI. And really what we do is we kind of come alongside and help with your, your needs, and gain that knowledge as well. So that's kind of what we can deliver on that situation. So it just depends on what you want to do, and we can kind of talk more about that. If you have a question, any more questions, related to this or something like that, shoot an email to contact@jkseva.com. One of us will get back to you and respond to that. If you have a, if you're interested in a demo or need some help, right now, hey, help, I'm kind of drowning. You can reach out to the sales team at jkseva.com, and one of us will do that. So we have a Q&A session coming up. If you have any more questions, Emily will actually arrange to, get them answered for you. And like I said, if you need a demo, we can help with that too. So I want to take the rest of the time to kind of go into a Q&A session here. And if we don't, again, as Emily said at the beginning, if we don't have time to finish it all, the questions, that's fine. The questions that come up, we'll put them together, we'll put the answers and send them out to you, and we'll go from there. If some reason you don't see your question or an answer to your question on anything that you see, please reach out to us at contact@jkseva.com. Refer to that. That's important. One more thing, you have an exit survey that's going to be coming to you as well. Please, if you wouldn't mind, we're trying to get better and better and better. If you could go ahead and fill that out, it'd be great. So right now we're going to go into the questions. There's a few questions that are here that came in that we have here. First one is, hey, how long would it take to implement TeleStaff? James, would you start out with that one for us, please?
Yes, Bill. It all depends on the complexity of the issues that you may or may not be having with your, as we discussed earlier, your list. If there is no complications, we're talking a few hours, followed by maybe about a week or two of testing, just to make sure the system works appropriately to your expectations. Now, if we do have some major changes that need to be done, of course, that all depends on how much changes need to be made, how detailed and intrinsic the list become. And then, of course, that's all followed up with testing, because we're not going to put anything into service without your 100% complete satisfaction on the testing itself. So basically, it varies on the size of the project.
Yeah, okay. And then on the automation, does that, that's part of that, what you're just talking about, it just depends on how much automation they want to do and how they can do it, correct?
Correct. It all varies on what their needs are.
Hey Tim, can Workforce TeleStaff, I'm going to ask you to answer this one. Can Workforce TeleStaff be integrated with existing payroll systems?
Yes, and although TeleStaff is considered primarily a scheduling and staffing program, it is built to integrate with your current payroll system. They have a gateway tool that comes with the TeleStaff. You can either purchase that or not, but you can do it even without that. Cronus itself has a list of major leaders in payroll, such as Tyler Munis and PeopleSoft, and they've had experience in both of those, as well as many others, integrating directly with TeleStaff. And of course, JK Seva has staff on hand that would also help with this integration process.
Thanks. That's perfect. Thank you for that. James, we were talking about contact methods, and one of the questions here says, what contact methods are best for the automation to work? So can you kind of give us some an answer to that one?
Yes. If you're not going to go with the third service interactive texting with Twilio, our suggestion is every cell phone has an email compatible address that will come across as a text message through SMS. That is the fastest way to get messages out. If you want to have it to make phone calls, we can still have it make the actual physical phone calls. But understand that the phone calls take time to get to pull up the dialer, dials out, wait for the person to answer, listen, or a person has to sign in. They have to listen to the whole message and then decide what to do. With the texting and the email via texting, they go straight through their phone, and we all know that everybody's going to look at a text before they answer a phone call. and they just look at the text, log in, decide if they want it or not, and allow the system to either move on or fill the position.
Follow up on that, just my curiosity on that. I've always been a proponent of a 3x3, and that meaning using all the above. Do a lot of people use all the above methods at the same time, or is it just usually one or two?
We recommend just keeping it to one.
Okay, that's good to know. And then Tim, where do you see that TeleStaff is going in the future? Well, in particular with dimensions, is someone asked?
Yeah, along with Kronos itself, they're putting all their products into Dimensions. And Dimensions include all the advantages that currently Workforce TeleStaff incorporates, including your automation and also your ease and your transparency for the officers. But it also has a smooth analytical tool and an interface with payroll that is much easier to use. More and more people are wanting analytical tools, and Dimensions is a good place for it. And also Kronos is joining forces with Ultimate, and they will be the largest software for payroll and for scheduling in the cloud once they merge together.
Okay, we have about a minute remaining here, so I'm gonna ask one more question, and this is for you, James. How far out can the system fill for openings? I think that's a good question here.
The system can fill an infinite number of dates out. There is no set end date. We do recommend a max of 6 months to a year. Anything beyond that, your employees are going to forget about the time, forget about what they signed up for. But with the changes, people change shifts all the time. They change station assignments all the time. Things could change, and then you're going to start running into the issue of employees not wanting to work that slot anymore. So we recommend about a 6 month out be the maximum you call for overtime.
Okay. And I mean, as I'm looking at these right here, one of them is, what if we have an older version of TeleStaff? Can we automate, or do we have to upgrade to newer versions? Yeah, I mean, there is some automation you can do. It's just a matter of, what the newer versions kind of give you a little bit more advantages of enhancements. That's really what that is. So the updating process is pretty straightforward, simple, and cost effective. So we recommend you upgrade or update, I guess you'd say. But yeah, you can use some of that. We're going to go ahead and send out the other. There's one. You know what? There's one more question. I'm gonna have Tim answer that real quick. Does TeleStaff have to be in the cloud? Tim?
No, it doesn't have to be in the cloud. No, it does not have to be in the cloud. It's highly recommended though, but some agencies still require on-premise to host Workforce TeleStaff, and that is available to do as well. It is recommended to go to the cloud, especially now that they're merging with Ultimate.
Perfect. Okay. And I wanted to get the last one in, so I know that the thing went to thank you. And if you do have any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Contact at jkseva.com. Remember the survey that's coming out, please. It's very important for you to respond to our survey so we can get better. And also, it gives you more. We're putting some more things out here. Maybe you have certain topics you want us to talk. So thanks again. If you're interested in a demo or need some help, the sales team at jkseva.com. Thanks for everybody. Emily, thank you. Tim Paragoy and James Waring, thank you so much. On behalf of JK Seva, Bill Mitchell, we'll talk to you soon. Look forward to our future ones as well. Bye-bye.